All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Lashem Yahushai, Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. The name of this video is going to be "There's No Such Thing as a Teenager, Man." All right, and I was thinking, on the subject lately, just for a little bit, and uh, it just seems, you know, uh, crazy to believe in in this belief. Okay, but then you got to take into consideration that again in the society we live in now, which I myself reside in Babylon, aka America. Um, and here, what is it, man? You have the a man can use the woman's bathroom, just because he feels that he wants to, and you can get away with doing that here. Um, you have children, going through, quote unquote, gender, change, surgery, right? You have men here, undergoing surgery to, quote unquote, become, women, men. Okay, so, what you have going on, around us here in this society is, completely, adverse and perverse and completely in violation and against what the scriptures teach, man. Okay, and that's in the book of Isaiah. What is that? I believe it's the fifth chapter, if I'm not mistaken. It says, "Woe to them that call, evil good and good evil, man." Okay, and just like, say for example, on the, if you have a paper where you have to sign, your gender, or even when you log into video games or certain websites and stuff like that, they'll ask you your gender, and then if you go down to it, it will give you usually three options. Now you can either choose male, female, or custom. Okay, I mean, that's insanity, man. That's totally insane, but that's what you have here in America, man. That's what you have in America. So what they also teach is that you know there's a stage of life where you are in between being a child and not yet a adult. So in other words, you're not necessarily a child, but at the same time you're not necessarily an adult. It's just something in between. That's what they, push. That's the belief system, right? That there's a stage of life where children are not necessarily children anymore, but they're not yet adults, and they call the stage of life, adolescence, or the teen years. Okay, which before I even get into this lesson, I want to point out real quick. There's a very good book out there by the name of Teen 2.0 that I recommend you look into that. It's a very good book. Just type that in on YouTube or the Google store, and you can look into that. Very good information in there. I have a playlist on my playlist list. As ironic as that is, I have a list on the playlist list. Try saying that 3 times fast. But anyway, there's a list on there that's entitled the Teenage Myth. Okay, recommend you check that out. And also, I myself have sat down over the past few months and I put a book together. All right, I put a book together, and I entitled it the Teenage Myth. Now, as of now, it's not a physical copy of a book, but it's an audio book. Now, as of today, because today's date is November the 11th. As of the day I'm recording, I have not released all the chapters yet of the book. However, if you want to listen to the few first chapters of the book, you can find it on my playlist list. Once again, you can find it the list on the list of the listes. Inside joke. Anyway, the name of the list, or the playlist, I should call it. The name of the playlist is the Teenage Myth, the audio book. All right, and you can listen to that. All right, so my own viewpoints and how, I refuted it. Okay. Which I recommend you check that out. So it's great information there. But, this belief, right, that there's, a stage of life where, you're not not necessarily a child anymore, but you're not necessarily a adult. It's just something in between that's totally illogical and foolish. And nevertheless, it's just a modern belief, as in it just came about in the past 100 years, man. In the early 1900s, by a man by the name of G. Stanley Hall. All right, was the first man to come up with the idea of of the stage of life that we call today adolescence. All right, but this concept is new. All right, and it has nothing to do with the holy text. And the reason I make that statement is you have these church places and these teachers saying stuff like, say for example, right, they have teen class, right, teen class, or what does the Bible give advice for teens, right? But this is just a new belief, man. This is just a new stage of life that somebody made up. It's not a biological factor. I mean, hell, the person who made up with this, the people who teach and believe this, believe that a man can become a woman, right? And believe that there's more than two genders. I mean, just shows you, man, the craziness, of America, aka Babylon the Great. But anyway, I'm not gonna ramble on. I'm just gonna pull out a few, scriptures that are, relative to the topic of discussion, and we're gonna, build off that. Now I wanted to pull up one verse real quick, just to show that the Bible clearly puts a difference between being a child and being a youth. Okay? Because, some people try to say that, youth, what does the word youth mean? Youth just means young. Okay, you can be 25 and be a youth. Okay, 20 and be a youth. 15 and be a youth. Youth just means young. Okay, 6 and be a youth. All right, even though 6 is a child, they're still a youth because they're young. All right. Or say, for example, a 90-year-old might tell a 50-year-old, oh, you're still in your youth, right? But yet, a 50-year-old might tell a 30-year-old that she's still in her youth. Okay, so, it depends on the context it's being used in. But anyway, I digress. Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 10 says, therefore remove sorrow from thy heart, and put away evil from thy flesh, for childhood and youth are vanity. What does vanity basically means? That, sometimes, you might get into certain, situations, but at the same time, King David said that, every man in his greatest state, it is altogether vanity, right? Everything is vanity. Okay, that's what King David said, right? Every man in his greatest, state of being is altogether vanity, all right? But the point of the matter, why I'm bringing this up, is it clearly puts a difference between childhood and being a youth, because it uses the word and in between the words. And what does the word and mean by definition? By definition, the word and means putting a difference between two things. Say, for example, if I tell you go to the store and buy me eggs and milk, is there a product that's there called egg milk? No. I suppose the closest you could come to that would be eggnog. That's another topic. Inside joke. But anyway, I said eggs and milk, meaning what? They're two separate items, just by very definition and logic. So that clearly, in and of itself, clearly, proves the point by itself. Let's see. I don't have too much I want to, bring out, because it's a very simple topic to understand. and my viewers should be, should know about this. But there's always the chance you have somebody who, is new to the topic of discussion. All right, let's see. This is out of the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11. It says, "When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things." Right, and when do you become a man? Well, that's around 12 to 14 years old, man. Okay, matter of fact, just to prove that real quick, what greater example, to give than who people call Jesus, which is named Yahushai, right? What a better example to give than him, right? Bear with me a second. All right. Just bear with me 1 second. I don't have it written down, but I know it's here. Now, I'm not going to get the verse that says it was 12, but if you read the chapter, there's a verse up in the chapter, because we're down here, but there's a verse up in the chapter that says, that Christ was 12 years old when this, when this happened. All right? But anyway, Joseph and Mary, they left Jerusalem because they were there with Christ. And then they, sought for Christ because they thought he was with them. But they found him not, so they went back to Jerusalem again. It says, Luke chapter 2, verse 45. "And when they found him not, they turned back again to Jerusalem, seeking him. And it came to pass that after 3 days they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the doctors, both hearing them and asking them questions. And all that heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. And when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said unto him, Son, why hast thou dealt with us? Behold, thy father and I sought thee sorrowing. And he said unto them, How is it that ye sought me? Wished ye not that I must be about my father's business?" Right, so, what was he clearly, Yahushua clearly was saying there, that, he had his own business to take care of, man, which was what? The ministry. But the point of the matter is he was declaring his, I guess one could call it, independence, for lack of better words. Okay, as being, an adult. Okay. Which, by the way, the very definition of the word adult in the English dictionary means a person or an organism who is sexually mature. That's what the word even means by its very definition. And you can look that up. As I said, man, you got to know what words mean. All right, there's it's very important to understand what words mean. If we don't know what that means, if we don't know what it means, well, then, we can't use the word in a sentence. Very simple to understand. Let's see. All right. We could have went more in depth, but there's, a lot of lessons out there we've already done about it. The spirits just don't meet again to, shed some light. All right, bear with me a second. All right, this is the book of 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 14. "I will therefore that the younger women marry and bear children, guide the house, and give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully." Right, but the point of the matter is the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, you know, his will is for, the younger, females to marry men, which is what? Usually around, the time of sexual maturity. That's why, your body becomes sexually mature, at around, 12 to 14 years old, man. Okay, it's not to, sit around for another 8 years till you're 20. All right, that's not, according to the text. That's just the way of this world, man. That's what this world tries to, say. Okay, that it's, wicked to, try to indulge in, your body's, natural, you know, desires. Because that's natural. That's human biology. So they'll tell you it's wrong to do that, but yet it's okay for two men to, to lie together, which is clearly against nature and against the scriptures. But yet, it's not okay to do something that your body wants to do itself. That's just not logical, but that's what they all believe. Okay? Matter of fact, I'll be right back. Alright, I just wanted to grab this in the Apocrypha real quick. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 26, verse 10. It says, "If thou daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself for over much liberty." And that's spiritual too, man, because remember, this was written, 400 years before Christ, right? So, the prophecy says that, in that day, the Lord shall, make a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. That's in Jeremiah, the 31st chapter. Okay, and that's what you're living in now, right? A queendom called what? America. Right? That's why, women have, their liberation here. Okay, women are, liberated. Okay, another good example, man, is, here in this society, your father really can't, stop his daughter from, being a, whore, man, by sleeping with, whoever she wants. You're free to do that here in America, man. All right, but, scriptures say, that a father can, have rule over what his, daughter does, but, those ways were done away with, when America, came about. Anyway, let's see. It says, "Watch over an imprudent eye, and marvel not if she trespass against thee." Look here. A little explicit, but nevertheless, says, "She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he has found a fountain, and drink of every water near her. By every hedge will she sit down, and open her quiver against every arrow." Obviously, we know what that's talking about. All right, and that's what's happening, man. Right? I remember, man. A few years ago, some cats, I believe it was LUIC, if I'm not mistaken, they were getting on, GMS Freedom Most High 7. Because he made a statement, that, a lot of these, young women, right, that they call, teens, they're out here, sleeping around, man. And why is that? Because that's just the way their bodies are designed, all right? You can't restrict something that's biological. You just can't do it. For example, if I made a law that says I declare that anybody under 80 years old cannot have a heart attack, such statements are utterly retarded and foolish, and will not in any way, shape, and form be followed, because human biology and the body does not dictate itself by somebody's made-up belief, which is what government, does when it says that, that you can't, sleep with somebody to, they're this certain age or whatnot, right? The quote-unquote, age of consent laws, which are clearly just a fabrication, and they, the Lord is gonna, put whoever came up with that idea to death, man. Right? Because that's a crime against humanity to restrict somebody of their, their body's, natural desires. That's wicked. That's going off. Right? So, girls shouldn't be in school anyway, man. Because guess what's happening? All right? Hey, look, man. a lot of the times that we're just going to keep it real, man. We're just going to keep it real. All right, just keep it real, as they say. All right, a lot of times, man, I mean, you really think that your, 14, 15-year-old, 16-year-old daughter, isn't getting, bent over, 6 ways to Sunday, in the school bathroom. I mean, you got to think again, man. That's what you have going on out here, as it says right here. Right, she will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he have found a fountain, and drink of every water near her. By every hedge will she sit down and open her quiver against every arrow. Right, and that's what you got going on, man. And I know, man. I know certain, when I was coming up, man, you had girls would be, 14, 15, 16, have already, bragging they've slept with, 8 different guys, man. And that's what you got going on, man. That's what you have going on, here in America. And that's what's uplifted, right? That's the, that's what's expected, for lack of better words. All right. But, I just wanted to, share some thoughts on that. You can, take me up on, what I said, earlier about, more information. I just wanted to, share that. But anyway, hey, man, we got to get out of here, man. All right. How about Shemiel Shai? Got to return soon. Right. Got to, crack those clouds and deliver Israel, out of this, out of this hell that we find ourselves in, man. So, that's what we hope, the Lord does, man. All right. But, hey, we just got to, continue to, keep, preaching this ministry, until then. But anyway, all praise to Yahweh Shemiel Shai, and I'm going to say shalom.